Greetings, my fellow adults, and welcome to my channel. In this episode, I didn't get up until 2 p.m. So we had a late one last night. But we're still gonna cook. So today, we're making ramen. And you're thinking fancy restaurant kind? No. This kind. It's pork flavored. All right, we are back, refreshed, feeling much better, and we're ready to cook. We are making ramen today. And believe me when I say I'm very aware there are much higher quality ramen noodles you can go out and buy and make this than the ones I showed in the intro. With that being said, the ingredients I'm about to show you definitely include some things I didn't have lying around the house, but I wanted to collect a lot of mostly Asian inspired ingredients as a means of giving you a couple of ideas of things you can throw in to top ramen, for example, to punch it up and really make it something worth eating. So to start, we've got these really nice golden oak shiitake mushrooms, and we're just gonna slice these up. We're gonna remove the stems because those are very tough and not what you want to eat. And we're just gonna slice them up pretty nice and thin. Get ourselves a mixing bowl, and these can go in here. Now we've got some bok choy. I really like this ingredient. It's kind of cabbagey, kind of lettucey, I don't know, sort of collardy. It's bok choy. We just cut this part off, we'll save. And you wanna kind of flatten these out and just remove the core. And we're just gonna give these leaves a rough chop. So kind of roll them up and just go at it and into the bowl. We don't need too much of this stuff, but I think a little bit of it would be nice. It's gonna serve, I guess, a similar purpose to celery. Most soups have celery. This one's gonna have bok choy. It's all gonna get sauteed together. All right, now we've got a couple of these very tiny little organic carrots I actually did have laying around, and I have very carefully peeled them so as to not remove too much of the carrot. So in order to get as much out of these as we can, I'm gonna go at a pretty good bias and slice them up at a nice angle. We're just trying to get a little more surface area out of what would be a really skinny piece of carrot. And into the bowl with them as well. Now we've got a leek. I love leeks. They're just a little tricky. You gotta kind of watch them. You can't really trust a leek. Anything like this that is made out of like concentric layers and grows up from the ground is very sneaky. You gotta watch these guys because they like to trap little particles of dirt and tiny rocks inside themselves and then grow up. And anyway, so as you cut it, you just gotta, pay pretty good attention. So cut the end off, cut the top off, and we're going to start slicing. It doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty clean, actually. And I think I'm gonna cut these in half. Okay. And now lastly, we're gonna take care of a little bit of garnish that we wanna save till the end. We've got some green onions and some cilantro here, and we're just gonna cut those up and get them into their own little individual ramekins, and they can wait till we're about done to finish it off. Lose the end. And again, cut at a pretty good bias, relatively thin. And when you get to the end of the green part, you can stop. That's probably enough green onion. The cilantro, we just want to de-stem. Cilantro stems aren't bad in like a soup base, but we've got so many veggies in here that I don't think we're gonna need the cilantro stems. So we're just gonna discard those. And just give that cilantro a good rough chop. And into its own ramekin. There's our prep done. Whoa, man, I almost forgot the garlic. We don't wanna do that. We do not wanna forget the garlic. Cut off the butt. This is a big one, so cut it in half. And what do? Smush and into the bowl. All right, to start things off, we've got our oven preheated to 425 degrees. We've got a pan over here that's hot over medium-high heat, and we are just gonna put a sear on this. Oh boy, that's hot as shit. Oh my God. Hey. Lid. We need a lid. Grease fire. Open some windows. Do I have a lid for this pan? Smother it. God damn it. Okay. Do you know what just went wrong there? I'll tell you. My pan was way too fucking hot. And when I put oil on it, it combusted. And then when that happened, I didn't have a lid handy to smother the grease fire. because that's what you do when you have a grease fire. You smother it. Never run water over it. Thank God I didn't do that. That can cause a massive explosion and set your house on fire, which we did not do. However, I wouldn't say I handled that the best. What do we do next time? Don't get the pan as hot. Always have a lid ready. Let's try that again. Okay, now that the smoke seems to have mostly cleared, let's see if we can manage to put a simple sear on a piece of pork. We're gonna add a little olive oil first so that we can control how hot that oil gets, so as not to burn my house down. Let's test the heat of this oil. Yes, that is hot. We're just gonna sear this up on all sides. It'll take a few minutes. Yep, that's looking good. Oh yeah. Yes. This is searing up very nice now that I'm not trying to incinerate it. All right, so this is seared up. So we're gonna turn the heat down to a medium-low. Let this chill for a second. We're gonna move this seared piece of pork loin into a small baking dish, and we're gonna put that in the oven. Actually, we're gonna take this off the heat. Just for the moment. Get our oven open, and we're gonna move this guy in here. Now, normally for a whole pork loin, what I tend to do is leave it in the oven for about 15 minutes, but this is a pretty small piece. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna check it in about 7 minutes, because we really don't wanna overcook it. All right, pretty sure this is hot enough. I'm gonna add just a little bit more oil, and I'm just gonna throw in all of these veggies. This is a pretty deep pan, so they can all go in. You know, maybe it'd be better to add all this stuff in stages, but to tell you the truth, the point of this is supposed to be that it's quick and easy, you know, kitchen fire notwithstanding, and we don't want to take up a ton of time. I'm just gonna get these in here and cook them down a little bit, but we're gonna add some yummy stuff to it as we do. So we're gonna add some of this Bragg's or soy sauce, whatever you've got, and we're gonna add some of this ginger paste, a good amount, and some of this shaoxing cooking wine, a little more, some sesame oil, and last but not least, a little bit of this super hot roasted chili oil. And I can hear that it's time to check the pork. And the pork is not done, but it's getting close. It's probably about 110 degrees, so I gave it about 5 more minutes. Maybe a little salt. Not much, because there is salt in the Bragg's, and some black pepper is good too. And we're just cooking away all that extra moisture we added. Sounds like I've got about a minute left before I want to check the pork again, so things are progressing along pretty well. Okay, timer's going off. Let's check that pork. Yep, right at 145. So the pork can finish cooking as it rests, and when it's ready, we'll slice it up and add it to our soup. I'm gonna call this good. I'm gonna take it off the heat, set it over here. I was just cutting up the pork, and as I was slicing it, I managed to slice through my thumb a little bit. To make matters worse, I didn't even get it on video because I must have fat fingered some control on my camera and turned off the recording. I mean, it was painful, but it probably would have been a little entertaining. At any rate, the pork is perfectly cooked. It's juicy and tender, and it's rested beautifully, and now it's all sliced up. So we've got it sitting off to the side, and it'll be ready when it's time to assemble everything. All right, we are almost done. So we're gonna take a little over 2 cups of water, put it in this pot here, and get that boiling. We are gonna add a little bit of salt to this water. Not much. We're boiling now, so let's toss in our noodles. I've already removed the seasoning packet from this. Get all the little bits too. And why dirty another kitchen utensil? We can just use these tongs. So what's in this stuff? Let's find out let's find out what we're working with here. Enriched wheat flour, niacin, reduced iron, thiamine mononitrate, riboflavin, folic acid, vegetable oil, which contains one or more of the following: canola, cottonseed, or palm, preserved by TBHQ, which I have no fucking idea what that is, contains less than 1% of salt, soy sauce, water, wheat, soybean salt, which I guess are the components of soy sauce, potassium carbonate, sodium phosphate, sodium carbonate, and turmeric. Okay. Oh, we're getting floppy. Okay, now we want to start breaking these up. So one of the more interesting ingredients we're going to add to our bastardized ramen here is this stuff. This is Dashi bonito soup stock, which is basically fish flakes or bonito flakes made into pelletized form. And if you think about it, it's pretty similar to fish food. It's food made from fish and then reconstituted back into the shape of food made for fish. And I find that delightful. Now would be a good time to toss in some of this stuff. And we are going to use our seasoning packet because, you know, it's just a more flavor. And it's pork flavored and there's pork going in it, so it just seems appropriate. Kind of want to work these noodles around pretty good so they don't stick together. Look at me telling you how to make top ramen like you've never made it before. We've all made this shit. You know exactly what to do. Do the thing you do and just add the extra stuff I tell you to add. I mean, how many of us lived on this stuff during college? Or, you know, immediately out of college? Those are done. I'm gonna turn the heat off. Get this off the heat. So we got all our yummy stuff here. Yes, indeedy. Mix it up. Okay, time to plate it all up, or bowl it up, as the case may be. So first we're gonna get all of our noodles in here. And we can get our pork in here. We're gonna hide the ugly bits, because we still want them. They're gonna taste delicious, but for presentation, we don't necessarily want to look at them. And we'll add our green onions, just all over the top. And the same thing with the cilantro. Like that, oh boy. That looks nice. As a final finishing touch, how about a little original sriracha? Sriracha hot chili sauce. Shake well, I did. And we're just gonna put that very carefully over the pork, just like that. There we go, guys. Nice, right? Well, guess what, guys? That was really good. We started a grease fire, we cut ourselves, we bled a lot, but we're okay. And now we're full and we're happy. If you found this video inspiring or helpful, give it a like. And if you want to see me do more stuff like this, although hopefully no more fires and no more bloodshed, you can click subscribe. We'll see you next time.